In the last video, I have definitively shown that I do not suffer from any mental disorder that I've ever been accused of suffering from. And if you listen carefully, there goes the cyber text. Okay, so remember, keep in mind, I'm an IT guy. I'm not just throwing that out there. I know. Cybersecurity was one of the courses I took in order to get my bachelor's degree in information technology with a concentration in software engineering. I know how to hack computers, and I know how to send people viruses, and I know how to, diagnose computers and to see whether or not they have a virus and what it is, and the appropriate procedures for malicious software removal. So, when you look at this situation, right, what is wrong with these people? I am more in touch with reality than 99% of people. In fact, it's probably more like 99.999%. I'm very in touch. If I was to be given degrees based on homeschooling, independent research, I'd have a degree in psychology. I'd have a degree in sociology. I'd have a degree in philosophy. I'd have a degree in political science. Okay, I've been studying these things for years and years and years. And, I can debate with the best of them in every one of these subjects. I have my own views that are well-researched views. Not just views that I'm just throwing out there because I heard somebody on the, news or something and I said, that sounds nice. But thorough research brought me to the conclusions that I have come to. Okay. So, what does this mean? What all these videos have shown us, what is the true meaning of this? What does it mean when they're trying to compare me to people who either acknowledge that there's something wrong with themselves, or they're making statements that make no sense at all? Nothing I have ever said to you is even hard to believe. Is it hard to believe that a black man in America is persecuted by law enforcement? Oh gosh, that's fucking funny. Is it hard to believe that the pharmaceutical companies, don't care if they fucking drug normal people who are sane? Since when does anyone who sells any service in a crony capitalist nation care about providing services to people who do not need them? It's another sick joke, right? There's nothing I've ever said that is hard to believe. Covert experimentation on black people. This country has a long history of that. Ever heard of the Tuskegee syphilis experiments? Putting drugs in the food. You ever heard of steroids in the McDonald's? The pink slime, whatever it is. Preservatives. There was a case in the news in San Jose of a terrorist lady in San Jose, 408, where I live. A lady who's considered a terrorist putting something, rubbing alcohol in the Starbucks. Nothing I've ever said is ridiculous to think. Poisoning political dissidents and one's enemies is as old as recorded history itself and older. It's older than recorded history. They call it trick doctoring, root doctoring, alchemy, the applications of alchemy and chemistry, chemical warfare, biological warfare. It's not unheard of. Look at how we try to do Castro. One of the things they came up with is dipping his cigar in cyanide or something like that. And all kinds of, putting poison pellets, and pellet guns and on and on. Nothing, that I've ever said is even close to crazy. So we can safely rule out beliefs. This guy has delusional beliefs. You know, when I say I'm being persecuted for my political views, that's a fucking no-brainer. You know, one of the presidential candidates, Dr. Ben Carson, he said the IRS audits people who are adverse to the current administration or to the administration that they're critical of, for example. The presidential candidate said that, and for a while he was there number 2 in the polls, you know, Republican, you know, presidential race, if you will, Republican primaries, you know, he was headed for that, to be the Republican nomination, for the race for the Republican nomination, you know. So not only are these views out there, they are really out there. Hillary Clinton said Ron Paul has the most fervent, the most ardent supporters, the most enthusiastic supporters. That was the word, most enthusiastic supporters. You see him on the freeway, okay? And he had a large following. And those people see things the way that I do. So you cannot say it's your beliefs that makes you crazy. When I said I'm the closest one to God, in a world of complete crony capitalism, evil, and abortion, you know, tons and millions of abortions and all kinds of evil, right? How ridiculous is it to say that a good man thinks that he's the closest to God in this country? You know, this country where everyone's petty and rips each other off and is very materialistic, and he's uncontrolled opposition and he's doing the will of God. And, you know, I think there are more people than you think that they have a special connection to God. I think that we inherently believe that we are special. I remember the philosophers have described it as many men think that they are the center of the universe. And when Freud said that every man wants to fuck his mother, okay, not only does it show that he wants to fuck his mother, but it also shows you that mental health can make ridiculous claims and nobody says you're crazy. You know, in fact, Freudian, you know, science, you know, pseudoscience is still a part of psychology to this day. You know, no one said you're fucking crazy. That's crazy. He's one of the most famous psychologists that ever fucking was. The guy who says that every man, you know, wants to fuck his mother. I mean, come on. They can say whatever the crazy, satanic fucking shit they want to say. But if I say because of what I am doing, I must be the closest to God because I've never seen anyone doing what I'm doing, especially not as well as I'm doing it. I see a lot of people I suspect of being controlled opposition, who take great strides, who make a great push to do these things. A whole lot of controlled opposition, a whole lot of groupies and yuppies. I don't see too many people who are sincere, who are as dedicated and as determined as I am. And as a result, yes, I do believe that I am the closest of God to God. And show me a counter argument. You can't. These are my personal religious beliefs, and I have a right to believe that. Unless you're trying to control the spirituality of the masses, which probably is what you're trying to do. In fact, it's what I would argue that you're trying to do. Because part of what the FBI Behavioral Analysis Unit does is analyze spirituality and how it pertains and relates to human behavior. And why on earth would they want to do that? And what are the applications of their research into this interesting subject? So, what on earth have I ever said that must make me insane? Nothing. Not a single thing in 3,400 to 3,500 videos in over 6 years. Not a single thing in over 3,400 videos in over 6 years. That, my friends, is what you call consistency. That, my friends, is what you call overwhelming proof of sanity. So what could their argument be? What could their argument possibly be? It's nonsensical. their argument shows a certain paranoia. They're afraid of the impact of my videos on society. They're the ones who are suffering from psychological disorders, complexes, control freak complexes, God complexes, ironically. Think about it. And also think, while you're at it, think about how someone who's crazy could make the arguments I've just made. How could someone crazy only focus on valid sources and connect them in a very logical, practical, prudent, and wise manner? Scientific manner. And ask yourselves, if my case does not prove psychiatry a fraud and psychiatry incapable of doing the right thing, given decades to do the right thing, then how unfair is society? The institutions, the people? How out of touch has public opinion become? Are we to hide behind social norms until we live complete lies for the sake of perceived benefit? What are the risks associated with bootlicking to the status quo and playing stupid? What are the risks associated with being stupid? What are the risks associated with going along with these unscrupulous rapscallions and their immoral attempts to label me mentally ill? If you let them label me mentally ill, I promise you, nobody will be safe for the next 100 years at least from this tyrannical, oppressive, repressive monster known as mental health. Thank you. Chicks. I have my own views that are well-researched views. Not just views that I'm just throwing out there because I heard somebody on the, news or something and I said, that sounds nice. But thorough research brought me to the conclusions that I have come to. If I was to be given degrees based on homeschooling, independent research, I'd have a degree in psychology, I'd have a degree in sociology, I'd have a degree in philosophy, I'd have a degree in political science. Okay, I've been studying these things for years and years and years. And, I can debate with the best of them in every one of these subjects. In the last video, I have definitively shown that I do not suffer from any mental disorder that I've ever been accused of suffering from. And if you listen carefully, there goes the cyber text. Okay, so remember, keep in mind I'm an IT guy. I'm not just throwing that out there. I know. Cybersecurity was one of the courses I took in order to get my bachelor's degree in information technology with a concentration in software engineering. I know how to hack computers, and I know how to send people viruses, and I know how to, diagnose computers and to see whether or not they have a virus, what it is, and the appropriate procedures for malicious software removal. So, when you look at this situation, right, what is wrong with these people? I am more in touch with reality than 99% of people. In fact, it's probably more like 99.999%. I'm very in touch